more than one.
There's multiple names of God. Because God is sometimes called Jews don't pronounce it the tetram. I don't know. Yeah. So that we describe it when God is He's merciful. So when God acts in different ways, the Bible uses different
ways.
different names of God.
I believe as a Hebrew is very similar to Arabic language.
Yeah.
Sometimes the plural been used to show you the mighty of God. Because what we know, even in the Bible, Moses was referred as Elohim. But we know that there's one Moses, not 5 Moses. But I just want to clarify to the people that the Christians all the time come to the Muslims and they say to the Muslims, you don't worship the same God as us Christians speaking and the Jews. But when you ask the Jews say we don't even believe Jesus as a prophet, let alone to believe as God. So why the Christians keep licking the feet of the Jews to make them feel like they worship the same God? Side point. I want to ask you, James, Samuel, you know, as a Muslim, I believe in the Torah. However, Allah mentioned to us in the Quran that the people of the book, which is the Yahud, changed the Torah. Yes? Okay. First of all, before we go to that, let me ask you a question. Is God perfect?
Yes.
You and I and the Christian here, all of us we believe God is perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I want to ask you something. Yeah, of course, there's no doubt about that.
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe Christians don't. Like.
Yeah, me and you forget. That's me and you today. I want to have a nice dialogue which everyone can benefit with the Yahudi.
Yeah.
As a Muslim and a Jew, we believe God is perfect.
Yeah.
Regretting when you regret something. Is it from perfection or imperfection when you regret something?
From imperfection.
No doubt about it. Because why? Imagine I chose my brother to be my king. Then when he start killing my kids, I say, I greatly regret. Because I didn't know the outcome of it. So if this is clear, because in the Quran Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned to us, وَلَا يَخَافُ عُقْبَاهَا. When Allah destroys nations, does not fear the outcome of it. Because Allah knows the outcome of it. You see. So how come when we read the Torah or when we read the Old Testament or even the Torah, Genesis 6:6, he said God regret for creating mankind. Likewise, when you look to Samuel, he says God greatly regret for choosing Saul as a king. We believe this is imperfection. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, the belief that you have and I have about God is correct. However, when you look to the scripture that you have, you go and guess what you believe.
Can I give you a parable to explain it? Imagine someone gives you like a very nice crystal vase,
Yeah.
So and you go and smash it. So now these bits of glass they go and someone falls on them and gets injured.
Okay.
So is it my fault?
There's no fault.
But I gave it to you.
Yeah, but you never broke it.
Yeah. So that's how we believe God created a perfect world.
Okay.
But some people they've got their own choice. They
have free will.
Yeah, free will.
Yes, I agree with that.
So it's like the glasses. When someone does something wrong, he's as if he's taking God's world and he's smashing it.
Okay, but what I'm saying here.
So that's why. So God, it was correct for him to create the world, but because of the choices man made, it turned out that was a bad thing. But God doesn't work. Even though God knows the future, God doesn't work on the future.
No, please, brother, no, I'm speaking. You guys speak after. Because I don't to clarify, when I like to have a dialogue, I don't like to tell people to speak at the same time. No. Because we're gonna go everywhere. We're gonna go to China, then we're gonna go to Holland, then we go to different countries. But what I'm saying, I agree with you that mankind they have their own free will. Yeah. But when you look to the context of the thing that I mentioned to you, is God regretting his own action, not God regretting what people did. God regrets choosing Saul as a king. The choosing is the action of God. God doesn't regret his action. Likewise, God regretting creating this again, God's action, not human's action. I'm saying God is perfect. God doesn't regret his actions. You see, As for human doing wrong and right, Allah mentioned in the Quran that clearly that the human, that Allah give them free will. نعم. وما تشاءون إلا أن يشاء الله. نعم. That you have Allah affirmed that we have a will. نعم. نعم mean yes in Arabic. Yes. The point here is that give us clear indication that the way God been spoken about in the Old Testament is not. It's like they gave him attributes of deficiency, regretting. Likewise, God created God created the heavens and the earth in 6 days. In the 7th day, rested and refreshed. And this we don't believe is the attribute of God, because resting. So it's before I finish. Resting and refreshing is the attribute of human being. That's why Allah said in the Quran in Surah Qaf, وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا فِي سِتَّةِ أَيَّامٍ وَمَا مَسَّنَا مِنْ لُغُوبٍ. The meaning of the verse that Allah mentioned, we have created. We again been used here. Doesn't mean it's 5. We mean the mighty. You see? So this is a side point, but just because we're talking about earlier on. So Allah mentioned we created the heavens and the earth and that which is between them in 6 days, and no fatigue overtouch us. The scholars of Islam, the likes of Imam ibn Uthaymeen and other than him from the scholars of Islam, mentioned that the reason Allah mentioned this in the Quran to refute those claim about him in the previous scriptures. Because we believe the previous scriptures was given from God to the prophets, however people changed it. So what I'm saying, to summarize again, the attributes that's been given to God in the Old Testament is not the attribute of the Most High.
But can I ask you something? What did God do? What did God do? What did God do?
I don't agree with it, but I said a good point.
What did God do on the 8th day? God created the world in 6 days. On the 7th, no. The Bible says on the 7th day he rested. And he refreshed, how you put it. What did he do? What did he?
It says refresh.
No, what you said. I'm saying the Bible
says refresh as well. Let me correct. Genesis said rest. But if you go to the other one, it says rested and refreshed. It says
so
that.
What did God do on the 8th day?
No, before you go tell me what God did on the 8th day, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, كُلَّ يَوْمٍ هُوَ فِي شَأْنٍ.
He's on the 7th day.
No. Let us focus on the 7th day, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala every day.
Had another whole word to
what I'm saying. So to cut you, what I'm saying, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned us in the Quran, Surah Al-Rahman, كُلَّ يَوْمٍ هُوَ فِي شَأْنٍ. Every day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doing stuff, thinking, Allah honor this, humiliate this, Allah create this, take life of this, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Na'am, subhanahu wa ta'ala mean, glorified be He. My point here is focus on rested and refreshed and regretting, which is the attribute of a human being, and is that from deficiency. Therefore, those who wrote the Bible, they gave deficiency to the Most High. So if they gave deficiency to the Most High, let alone what they said about the prophets.
Yeah, but it's not as if God created the world in 6 days and the world was created. Well, it's not as if he had to rest on Saturday or Sabbath because he had a whole nother work. He had a whole nother week to do. What did he do on the 8th day? Come to you.
He's on the 7th day.
What?
He's on the 7th
Please,
day.
I forgot his name. Astaghfirullah. Sam.
Yeah.
Sam, if I tell you, what is your name? Give me your name. Don't tell me let us drive Mercedes. That's not your name. So focus on what is your name, not Mercedes. Okay. My point here is, Sam, that the attributes that the writers of the Torah and the
answer your question or the question. Just answer me this question.
I told you Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Okay, so I'll answer the question.
Okay, wait, let's go to the 8th day. We'll come back to the 7th.
Yeah, there's no idea.
On the 8th day, the next week, did God recreate the world? No.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
God had created the world in the first 6 days.
Okay.
So the 7th day, God doesn't need to rest.
The
reason why
God does not need to rest.
The Jews our Sabbath is a special day.
Okay.
God doesn't need to rest. It's not as if he had to create the world in another 6 days. He needed to gather up his energy. It was a spiritual day. It's a spiritual day. This resting. It's not a physical thing. He rested because he needed to work the next week.
No, look to the context. Look, the context. God created the heavens and the earth, and that which is between them in 6 days. 7th day rested and refreshed.
His answer is resting is not.
Yeah, no, but
spiritual, that's his
no,
answer.
but it's incorrect. You know why? Because we look to the context. Let me look to the context. Yeah?
Incorrect.
No, you know why? Because the context. Yeah, I like that. Is that the answer? The context. If I say I've been working for 6 days, 7th day rested.
But I'm saying,
So to me, everyone think the reason I mentioned I rested in the 7th day because I got tired of the work which I have done in 6 days. But look to compare this statement in the Torah and compare Allah's statement in the Quran. ولقد خلقنا السماوات والأرض وما بينهما في 6 أيام وما مسنا من لغوب. We have created the heavens and the earth and that which is between them in 6 days, and no fatigue overcame us. Which one indicate is a perfect God?
what do you know? Fatigue came over us. Who's
talking
us?
to God.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everyone's recording. No, bro. I say us. Okay. لغة, linguistically, in Arabic language, if you want to show your mighty and your power, you refer to yourself as a plural.
Yeah.
You understand that? Yeah, and royal plural. We say what? We say in Arabic language, we call it nun tafkhim.
Yeah.
The might of that. So my point here is, before we move on, which one gives indication that is a perfect God? The one who said
God was tired. God had worked for 6 days, so God was tired. So
you won.
Fatigue. No, you won.
No, he said no fatigue touch us. He didn't get tired. Not like as you claim in the Torah.
How do you? What's your version?
So his version is we did make the world in 6 days.
Yeah.
And now no fatigue.
No fatigue
overcame
came us. The reason Allah mentioned that in the Quran, because Allah gave the books. Allah gave.
Do that.
You have tissue. No tissue.
It's okay.
It's okay, you're gonna. Well, the reason Allah mentioned that, as Imam ibn Uthaymin, may Allah have mercy upon him, one of the major scholars of our time, he said the reason Allah mentioned that in the Quran to refute the false claim about him that Allah rested. Allah is not in need of rest or refresh. That is the attribute of the creation. Likewise, regretting. You see what I'm saying? So my point to you is, what I'm saying, you believe in one God.
Yeah.
However, the God that you believe and we believe, he has deficiency, according to you. According to your book, not to you, because you already said God doesn't regret, because regret is imperfection. However, it's in your book. So now you have a problem.
It's in the Torah.
It's in the Torah and the Old Testament as well. It's in Samuel. So because the Torah has the 5 books. So now, how can you reconcile between what you just said, that God doesn't regret, and between in your book saying God regrets?
Though I just told the explanation that it was right for God to create man, but when it says regret, it's using it doesn't mean a literal regret. It's as if man had a choice. So if God obviously doesn't, God knows what you're gonna. Do you believe God knows what you're gonna do tomorrow?
يعلم خائنة الأعين وما تخفي الصدور. Allah knows what is in your heart and what your eyes. With the blink of the eyes. Allah, Allah said, "أحاط بكل شيء علما," and Allah knows everything.
Yeah. So we've got a basic question. I'm sure Pure in your religion also discuss it. If God knows what you're gonna do, then what's the point of you being around? God anyway knows what you're gonna do.
That's the side point. Let's deal with the point of regretting.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, God has
free will.
There's 2 points we have to talk about. Regretting and resting.
Yeah,
will.
which is
Talk about 1 point.
that's what I'm saying. Regret. So resting, clear cut. You're gonna whatever you're gonna explain. Because what you have to understand.
Let's leave
It's
gone.
Yeah. What you have to understand. Explaining things doesn't mean that it's correct.
Yeah,
because you can bring a murderer now and a killer and a rapist and you explain why he did it. You see what I'm saying? You like this point, yeah? You can explain it, no doubt. So explaining things doesn't mean you're right. My point here is regretting. I'm not saying God regret because the man regret. God regrets his own action. And when you regret your own action because you didn't know the outcome of it, that's why you regret it. And I gave you an example, and the example I gave you is exactly what has been mentioned in the Old Testament, that God chose Saul as a king. However, Saul turned on him. Then God told Samuel, "I greatly regret for choosing Saul as a king." Therefore, God did know the outcome of Saul's action, and this is not what God I believe in, the perfect God. Because when we say, I say Subhana meaning in English language that Allah is far away from any imperfection. Do you understand this point?
Yeah, we also believe in that.
But in your book is different, my brother.
Yeah.
I mean, what's your name again?
Sam.
Samuel.
So what I'm trying to explain is how, if God knows the outcome of what you're gonna, how does free will work if God knows what you're gonna do?
Okay. Knowing something. Let's clarify this point. Please, can you go take him there? Speak because we're speaking. Out of respect. Okay. Knowing something's gonna take place in the future.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessitate I'm gonna force you. For example, if I know this brother, I have knowledge what this brother is gonna do in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I force him. Means I know what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
There's a difference between knowing the future. Sorry.
Yeah.
He's not dealing with it.
No, how about knowing what he's gonna do but regretting it anyway?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Does that mean that you're imperfect?
How?
You know he's gonna do.
That's contradiction. That's contradiction.
You know he's gonna backbite you, but you regret it anyway.
No, that's contradiction. Because why? You know why? Because regret. Remember, let us define what is regret. Regret when you do an action, then you take it back. And the reason you take it back because you know the outcome of it. Because if I do an action and I know what is gonna happen, I'm not gonna take it back because I know already it's gonna happen this way or that way. Do you understand my point? Here is. But now, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Why don't you believe in the Prophet Muhammad?
What?
Why don't you believe
why
Prophet
should I
Muhammad?
believe in him?
Okay, let me ask you something now. You and I, we believe Allah is the most just.
Yeah.
Is the most just, yeah?
Agreed.
Now, someone who claims prophethood is either the biggest liar,
Yeah.
or is the most truthful person,
Yeah.
or the most deluded person.
Yeah.
He has to be free, these people, now. Okay. And now, we know God the most just will never leave a liar going around claiming to be prophets of his, fighting against his people claiming to be the people of God. However, God's aiding him, not just aiding him, aiding his people, and God giving him power and strength, and he established a kingdom.
Yeah.
Do you think God would do that to a false prophet?
Do you think God would let that happen? Is that what you're asking?
To a false prophet.
So how do you explain Jesus?
Jesus is not a false prophet. I don't believe he's prophet.
What? You don't believe he's a false prophet?
Of course, a mighty prophet. Jesus, Messiah. No, I don't believe he's God.
You don't believe it? You believe in Rasulullah.
I say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran that Isa said, Ana Abdullah. Allah said, Ya Bani Israel, Inni Rasulullah ilaykum. O the Israelites, I'm the messenger to you. I believe Jesus, Messiah, Al-Masih ibn Maryam, and I believe Jesus to be a messenger of Allah. However, I don't believe he's a son of God or God. So my point here is, would Allah, the most just, the most merciful, leave a liar going around claiming to be prophet of his while helping him and aiding him? Well, we have to bear in mind, of course, sometimes Allah allow a liar, however, eventually will expose him.
I think that.
So I'm saying, sorry.
Yeah.
Do you think God will do that? Would God allow a liar claiming to be a prophet of his?
Okay. Is there?
I'm saying.
Wait. Sorry.
I can't read God's mind. If God thinks that's Maimonides explains the reason why the other religions are needed, because before Christianity came along, everyone used to believe in idol. The whole world besides Judaism nearly was idolatrous.
I don't know about that. Allah knows best.
Look in history.
Yeah, look at
before.
Yeah, but you can't claim that.
Yeah.
You cannot.
Look up in history.
No, but carry on.
Ask history.
Carry on.
Yeah. Before 2,000 years ago, the Romans, the Greeks, all into idols. That was the religion.
Carry on.
So, in order to make the way straight for the Messiah to come, if Messiah would come, we believe it's not the Messiah will make the world better for everyone. So if people have such a distorted version of God, then how will they be able to accept the Messiah? So therefore God had to make these people come along, even though it's not true, but the basis of it is true, that there's one God, in order to prepare the way for the Messiah.
No, I think you missed my point. Let me give you an example. So I'll give you an example. Imagine you're a king,
Yeah.
There's someone in your kingdom going around claiming that you sent him to do things, while he's giving a bad name to you.
Yeah.
Would you not expose him?
So I just explained that to you.
No, I'm asking you before you explain that.
He-
'Cause-
Judaism-
no, wait.
Yeah.
Just answer me. Would you expose him or not?
What? Would I expose him? Yes.
Yeah, you expose him.
might not do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you more just than God? No, of course. So how on the earth God will leave a false prophet going around claiming to be a prophet of his? Sorry, let me finish. Prophet of his, while he's not just leaving him, rather is aiding him, helping him,